Welcome to our journey through the darkest crimes ever committed. Today we unveil the top 5 cases that will send shivers down your spine. But hold your breath because the most bone-chilling crime awaits at number 1.
What are you doing? Strangling someone?
Stay tuned until the end and brace yourself for the ultimate shock. 5 family members were slain by 2 of their own on July 22, 2015, in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. The tragic story of the Bever family emphasizes the significance of identifying early indicators of possibly violent conduct. The 54-year-old David and 45-year-old April Beaver and their 3 children, 12-year-old Daniel, 6-year-old Christopher, and 5-year-old Victoria, were brutally murdered inside the family's home by 2 older children, 18-year-old Robert Bever and 16-year-old Michael Bever, who had spent months planning the deadly attack inspired by violent video games and the Columbine High School massacre. Autumn, 2 years old, and Crystal, 13 years old, were the only members of the family to survive. Robert and Michael Bever were ultimately found guilty and given life sentences without the possibility of release.
Not long after the awkward conversation with Daniel about her mother's death, Annie began discussing it with her sister. This led to a fairly harmless decision to use an Ouija board to try and reconnect with her. What was strange, however, was the response. The pair began to hear tapping sounds and feared it was a message from beyond the grave. To make matters worse, the tapping persisted long after the Ouija board was back in its box. It drove them mad, especially when it conveniently stopped whenever their father was home. Their father was sympathetic and saw it as a desire to be close to their mother, and nothing more. Then the paranormal activity began. If you would like to know more about this case, please give us a like and a subscribe.
Colleen Ritzer, a cherished math instructor, was brutally killed in 2013 by a 9th grader. On the morning of October 22, 2013, 14-year-old Philip Chisholm came to school with multiple bags that contained a box cutter, a mask, gloves, and an extra set of clothes. Colleen Ritzer left her class at 2:54 and went to the women's restroom on the 2nd level. Philip then made an appearance on camera in the corridor with his hood pulled up. When Philip entered the women's toilet, he quietly put on his gloves. He dragged a garbage can behind him as he left the restroom and approached the classroom. Philip started to leave the school and enter the woods behind it after reaching the elevator. Philip had previously abused Colleen. He was found guilty on February 26, 2016, and given a 40-year jail term. Christopher Scarver, a prisoner in Columbia Correctional Institution, was given the responsibility of cleaning the prison gym in November 1994. He is the one who killed Jeffrey Dahmer. The assignment was also handed to 2 other prisoners, Jesse Anderson and Jeffrey Dahmer. That day, Christopher Scarver beat Jesse Anderson and Jeffrey Dahmer to death with great brutality. But why did he kill Jesse Anderson and Jeffrey Dahmer, and how did he end himself in jail? In June 1990, Christopher Scarver was imprisoned for the murder of Steve Lohman, his former employer. Christopher started working as an apprentice carpenter with the Youth Conservation Corps after his mother booted him out. Christopher claims that Steve Lohman made a job offer after completing the apprenticeship, but never followed through or gave payment for what he believed Steve ought to have given him. When Steve Lohman only handed Christopher $15, Christopher shot him. Christopher informed the authorities that he would turn himself in after being detained since he realized his acts were wrong. After a disagreement with her mother in May 1980, Anna, then 7 years old, decided to skip school and go play with the cats at her neighbor Klaus Grabowski's house instead. Grabowski abducted Anna, raped her sexually, strangled her with his fiancée's pantyhose, and placed her body in a box on the side of a canal. Later that evening, when his fiancée had phoned the police, Grabowski was taken into custody. He confessed to the murder but related an odd and upsetting tale. Grabowski said that he strangled the little child because she had made advances toward him and had threatened to inform her mother that he had abused her if he didn't give her money. During Grabowski's trial in March 1981, Marianne Bachmeyer, Anna's mother, shot him 6 times in the back. instantly killing him. With some saying that Grabowski's vigilante justice was appropriate and others equating her assassin to her murderer, her actions made international news and split the nation.